All right, I hope this was easy. Pretty vocab heavy, but it makes you really think about it, so that's good. Let's begin with the questions 1 through 5. The first one reads, the steps in the accounting cycle for a merchandising company are different from the accounting cycle in a service company. Do you agree? Disagree, because an accounting cycle is an accounting cycle. It doesn't matter how many hands you have in the cookie jar. A cycle start to finish is the same, whether you are cutting hair or selling flowers. Okay. The B part is the measurement of net income for a merchandising company conceptually the same. It really is. It still is revenue minus expenses, hopefully equal a net income. It's just that for a merchandising business, there's just way more to it. Because for merchandising, you're selling stuff. Those flowers were not free. They cost money to the business from the wholesaler to the retailer. Number 2, why is the normal operating cycle likely to be longer? This is different from an accounting cycle because operations, as my answer key talk about, are likely to be longer because the inventory first has to be bought and then sold, and then the receivables must be collected. So if you think about it, if I'm Sweet Lily's Floral, I can't sell flowers unless I've bought them from a wholesaler. So the wholesaler has to get them to me. So I have to buy them. Then I have to turn around and sell them. Then if someone's not paying cash or card and rather are like, go ahead and bill me, that process just takes longer. So operating cycle versus an accounting cycle. Operating cycle is going to take longer because there's a lot more steps. Number 3, how do the components of revenue and expenses differ? So I like that the answer key put a little chart in here. Yours maybe doesn't have that, but it's okay. Just wade through your answers. For a merchandising business, a business that sells stuff, revenue is sales revenue. Expenses actually can be broken down into COGS and then all the operating expenses, or like overhead, like we talked about a couple days ago. Part B asks, explain the income measure for a merchandising business. I love this. It's the long equation. Before we looked at revenue minus expenses equals net income. Now we can say, well, there's a few more players here. We're first going to take a look at money in minus COGS, because the stuff wasn't free, equals what's called gross profit. That's truly not our net income because we have to subtract off all that overhead, things like advertising, utilities, paying our employees, all of that. Then we can still hope we're having a net income. So that's that complex equation. I just like the boxes, but I'm sure you wrote it out, which is just fine. Number 4, how does income measurement differ between a merchandising and service business? Kind of like what we just did in number 3B. Take a look at our sales, and we divide our expenses into COGS and operating. Number 5, when is cost of goods sold determined on a perpetual inventory system? You guys tell me. Thank you, Jenna. Every time a sale occurs. At Heartland Motor Company, when they sell a Corvette or Camaro, or any vehicle for that matter, they know their, they know their cost, their COGS, when that thing drives off the lot. In my business, Junk by Jenny, I don't track every chair and every bit of expense that goes with it. I just look holistically at the end, what's left to help me determine what was used. What can I answer about those 5 questions? What are you guys still wondering? Okay, let's take a look at these. In your workbook, you'll notice it is in your workbook in a really nice format. The format, I don't like how my answer key looks, so I'm going to zip down here a minute. Revenue minus COGS equals gross profits. This is exactly what I just got done showing you. Minus your operating expenses equals net income. That's how they present it in your workbook, don't they? Which is kind of nice. And so you could go in and put your minuses and your equals in. They give you just in an answer key format your answers. It's basically just moving numbers around until you can get it to all shake out. So you can just take a peek there. I like this format better, where they put all of your numbers in and then you have to figure out the math. Can I help with anything? All right, so that was everything from yesterday.